Boom, there it is. We are live. You are looking live, Charlie Marlow, on YouTube, brought to you by Triad Bank, St. Louis Equipment, and St. Louis Lawn Care, and also Corner Butcher in Fenton and CB's Chop House. I'll wait till I get to the reason I'm jumping on. We'll let some people jump in the live stream here. By the way, I think I look good in terms of the picture. If I don't sound good, let me know. I apologize. Yesterday's live stream, I listened back and the mic was cutting out a lot. So there must have been a bad cord connection there. So if that happens here, let me know. If the mic is cutting out, let me know, folks. I want this audio to be good for y'all. We got a couple of people jumping in now. Let's get the chat going. I'm going to go ahead and say hello. And I learned yesterday that you can actually put the chat comments up here, which is nice. Nobody really cares, but I'll put mine up there. Hey, that's me. Hello. How are you guys doing? Hey, Charlie Marlow. Hey, now there's 11 of you. John Linter says, Mike, good. I appreciate that. I think what happens is sometimes if I'm fooling around, if I'm moving the mic or if I touch the keyboard, maybe the connection gets loose. So if it's bad, seriously, say, Charlie, it's bad. Change it. And I will. Okay, here we go. What do we got here? B. Burke says, Denton just reported that the only name he has heard for Carlson is Dylan Floro from the Nats. We're going to jump on Twitter and check that out also. I'm going to wait till a couple more people come in here. Drew P. Balls, my guy. He's a member on the channel. He says, good morning. Good morning, all of you. Okay. It's 9:13. I have about, 30, 35 minutes. So I wanted to talk Cardinals, and I figured I might as well just go live. It's easier to go live, and then I don't have to edit the video afterwards. So I'm probably going to do more lives as the season goes on here, especially if the Cardinals are in it to win it. Who knows? But at least, look, they made a move. On paper, they're better. You got to think on paper they're better for 2025 as well. Look, this doesn't guarantee the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs, but it guarantees that they have a pretty good shot. And it guarantees that the front office is trying, as other teams they're competing with also are. I'm talking Mets, Padres, so on and so forth. Look, you got to keep pace. Actually, you have to do more than keep pace. You have to jump some of these teams. Okay, let's go to some of the questions first. Ron Cook, I like this question. What would it take to get Fairbanks, Pete Fairbanks, super hard-throwing right-handed reliever for the Rays, St. Louis guy, grew up a Cardinals fan, Webster Groves High School. I actually remember covering Pete Fairbanks playing basketball. He could shoot threes. I think he's 6'6". What will it take to get Pete Fairbanks? It will take a lot. It will take a lot. I know his contract is pretty manageable. I'm going to look him up right now. I actually was looking him up last night randomly. So he's 30, I believe. Let's get it down, all the details for you. He'll be 31 in December. His contract is 3 years, $12 million. That's through 25 with a 26 team option. Free agent in 2026. So what's he making? About $4-ish million AAV. Let's see what it lines up for. So this year for the Rays, Pete Fairbanks, $3.66 million. 2025, $3.66 million. 2026, a $7 million team option with a $1 million buyout. Pete Fairbanks strikes out the world. Let's check out his strikeout numbers. So for his career, 197 and a third innings pitched, 264 Ks this year, 35 strikeouts in 37 and 2/3 innings. So not as prolific as the past. He's got 38 appearances, 3.11 ERA. We're talking Pete Fairbanks. So you get him for half of this season in a playoff run. You get him for 2025. You have a 2026 team option for $7 million. That seems like a very good deal. The answer to that is a lot. It's going to take a lot to get somebody like that. I don't know exactly what? But think about, look, people are asking, what could you get for Ryan Helsley? Now, obviously, Ryan Helsley is much better than Pete Fairbanks, although Pete Fairbanks is really good. But so take whatever you think the Ryan Helsley package is and probably pair it off a little bit. Although you do have that team option, there's value there in 2026 for Pete Fairbanks. I always try to be honest with you guys. I'm not Mr. Prospects guy. I don't know exactly what it's going to take. I just like talking baseball with you guys. Good question, though. Let's see. Okay. B. Burke, sorry. He said one name that has been linked, not the only name. Okay. B. Burke was talking about a John Denton report, apparently, that Dylan Floro was linked to Dylan Carlson. I got to look all that up. I'm just jumping on and chatting with you guys. All right. V. Rhett. Morning, Charlie. Morning. Colby Sports, my guy. Hello, Charlie. Okay. First of all, I wanted to start with this. Look, I know you guys are the best fans in baseball, and I say that honestly. I'm not even joking. We joke around with the B-fib and all that, but St. Louis truly the best baseball market in America. But also, you guys have high expectations, and sometimes I think the expectations, I don't want to say they're too high, but I think we all sometimes bitch and complain a little too much. Is that fair to say? So this surprised me, and this is the first thing I want to discuss with you guys. Yesterday on Twitter, after the trade, after we know all the names, you trade obviously Tommy Edman, you get Erick Fedde, you get Tommy Pham. So I just put out there, hey, for the Lou fans on X, do you like the trade? Yes or no? Easy. 1,860 votes. Look at this. Look at this, folks. You guys are happy. 93% of you, 93% said, yes, you like the deal. Isn't that surprising, though? Like, I obviously would have predicted that a majority of people would have liked this trade. But with the way we complain about the DeWitts and Mozeliak and Ollie, and I feel like there's some apathy with the franchise right now. There's a lot of people that are pissed and frustrated. That surprised me that 93% of you guys liked that deal. So that's good. I think that goes to show you. I have my little Joe Burrow little hairpiece I'm trying to move here. Don't you think? I mean, it's hard not to like that deal. I understand if you want them to do more. I understand if you want them to get another reliever or a reliever. But also remember, they'll probably play with a 6-man rotation right off the bat, give everybody an extra off day. We'll see what happens with off days. You can play with those if there's a rain out and whatnot. But you got to think they're going to go to the typical 5-man. And that also, this deal strengthens the bullpen because whoever they send to the pen, I think it's going to be Andre Palante. You can obviously make the argument for Lance Lynn. We know how baseball works. We know how pro sports works. You rarely put the veteran guy with the big contract in the pen. It's just the way it is. We all know Andre Palante has pitched overall really, really well. Before yesterday, the starter's ERA for Palante was 3.42. I haven't looked since last night. Okay. Colby Sports says, we are happy for once. Normally, a lot of negativity. I agree with that. How about DDWI? DWI? Not to jump ahead too far, and I like the move yesterday, but what does the offseason look like if they don't want to add payroll? What a great question. Although, if they want to keep the payroll the same, let's assume they don't bring back Lance Lynn on that option. What was Lance Lynn making? 12-ish? I can't remember exactly. Don't you think at this point you're not bringing Goldie back? I don't think you should bring Goldie back. What was Goldie making? 26 million? Boom. Right there's 40 million. You already brought on Fedde. So although that headline looked bad, I don't like seeing that either, folks. Believe me. But I think they have more payroll flexibility than you think. If you right there go ahead and say, you don't bring back Goldie, or what if they bring him back on a discount? At this point, I would not bring back Paul Goldschmidt, but I would never basically underestimate the Cardinals in terms of doing something with legacy players that the fans are not super excited about. They seem to always extend guys beyond what they should when they're players that have been around for a long time and they really, really like. That's just my opinion. Wanda Rattermecker. Rowan Gartner, Gardenhoser. Thanks to a great ball player, Tommy Edman. Get healthy. Best wishes. I agree. How about this? Nodlin. Getting O'Brien back is basically like making a trade. Riley O'Brien. I think that was tongue-in-cheek, I'm guessing. But hey, maybe he's decent. Big arm. MT 2330. I'm glad they're trying, but I think the main issue is what needs to be done to unlock this offense that just continues to struggle. I know Pham will help against left-handed pitching, but it's rough. I agree with you. And I think at the end of the day, look, the dudes that you're paying huge money to have to perform. That's just the bottom line. We've said this all season long. You're paying Nolan $35 million. You're paying Goldie $26 million, whatever it is. Those guys can't be 650 OPS guys. You'd love if they're hell. I mean, you want them to be 900 OPS guys. At this point, you'd settle for 750. I mean, if they could creep up towards 800, Nolan Arenado had been creeping up. Paul Goldschmidt creeping up. So I think you're going to live or die with those guys. When you talk about that's what, $60 million of your payroll. So roughly, I don't know the exact payroll numbers, but let's just say 30%, whatever that number is. If 30% of your payroll, future Hall of Fame guys aren't producing up to their standard, it's going to be really, really hard. And then you got Nolan Gorman, obviously struggling. You have what happened with Jordan Walker. Did anybody think Jordan Walker was going to be in the freaking minor leagues all season? Most people, me included, thought Jordan Walker would take a step in his sophomore season and push towards being a really, really good player, potential all-star. On the other hand, did you expect Alec Burleson to be this good? Did you expect Mason Wynn to be this good early on? So you got to kind of look at it both ways there. All right, let's see here. More comments. Great one, too. Oh, we're speaking to each other. They have to add to payroll. 3 of the starters are on one-year deals. Okay, so talk about the starters. But hold on a second. 1-year deals. So Sonny Gray is not on a 1-year deal. Fedde now is here for next year. Miles Michaelis is back for next year, correct? Steven Matz is back. I know it's funny. We don't even mention Steven Matz, that he's on the roster. But also, my wife makes fun of me for saying roster instead of roster. So, yeah, Miles Michaelis is here for next year. I'm just checking all these because I don't have the greatest memory. Miles Michaelis back for next year. Let's find Matz. Okay. Steven Matz, his contract through 25 as well. We know that Kyle Gibson's on a 1-year deal with an option. We know Lance Lynn's on a 1-year deal with an option. You got Fedde, you got Palante as an option, but right there, if you just assume, first of all, you hate to say this, but you almost have to assume that Steven Matz is always hurt. Sucks to say that, but it's true. Let's assume they don't bring back Lance Lynn. Okay, so you got Gray, you got Fedde. Like it or not, you have Matz and Michaelis, and you have Palante. Now, that right there could be your rotation. However, I think I would bring in somebody else. You can't depend on Matz. Oh, did I mention Kyle Gibson? Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Sonny Gray. Let's go. We're thinking 2025 right now. Sonny Gray is your 1. Don't get mad at me, but let's just slot him in. Sonny Gray 1. Let's go Fedde 2. Kyle Gibson 3. Let's say Miles Michaelis 4. And then let's say Matz, who's always hurt, and a Palante as your 5. I'm certainly letting Palante compete for a job. I mean, what's the deal with Tink Hence? He's only in AA. You're not going to get a big workload from him next year, even if he is a starter. I would still probably bring in another starter. Don't you think, you guys? And it's probably going to be a similar guy. It's probably going to be a similar 1-year deal for a 30-something-year-old dude. Let's see. Here we go. Colby Sports. Are you expecting anything from the Birds today? Ship out Carlson seems likely. I agree. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I feel like when you read all these reports of interest in Carlson, it kind of reminds me a little bit, although not to the same degree, of the Cardinals shopping Tyler O'Neill. When you're hearing that they're shopping someone, they're probably gone. And it also makes sense. Like, it makes sense just to move on from Dylan Carlson. I have my Joe Burrow hair flop going. Yeah, it makes sense to move on from Dylan Carlson. He needs a fresh start. If the Cardinals can get a bullpen arm, it makes sense for everybody involved. Jeff Castle, good morning, Charlie and chat. By the way, let me know. Is the audio good? I apologize. The audio was cutting out yesterday. I didn't know that. Let me know. If you hear the audio cutting out, let me know so I can fix it, because I can't hear it when we're live here. Let's see here. Colby Sports, what has happened to Sonny lately? He's been bad. Yes, he has. That's true. Overall, pretty dang solid. I'm not worried about Sonny Gray. This happens. Sometimes you hit a stretch where you have a bad 4 or 5 starts, bad month or so. Hopefully he gets back on track. You mama. I like Erman. I think that's Edman. But I'm excited with Pham coming back. I like having some edge and personality. I agree, and this team needs that. Rather than having a bunch of guys walk around like they work in an office somewhere. Here. I agree with you. You mama. Nodlin. I'm sure you've talked about it, and I just missed it. But what's your take on Gray's last post-game interview? I like the guy, but that interview seemed like bad optics to me. I did watch that. I feel like at the end, he got a little frustrated, but that's a competitor, man. Sonny Gray doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when you're a little short with the media. They get it. They're professionals. He's a professional. He's pissed. It's all good. That doesn't bother me. I didn't think it was that bad. It's just fine. Audio, good. Thank you. Jeff, the team still isn't good. Yeah, they're not great. They're okay, decent. Jeff, but Fedde is a good move for next year at least. I agree. Drew P. Balls. Get it? The Cardinals do like old pitchers. They sure do. They sure love those 35-year-olds that live close by on a 1-year deal. Yes, they do. They sure do. DDWI. Don't you think the Cardinals have to put a ton of focus on fixing their pitching development issues? Yes, they do. How about Chaim Bloom maybe taking care of that? They can't just keep relying on mid-30s guys who sign short-term deals. I agree, but also, yeah. So clearly you want to develop your own young guys. That's the way to really win. However, if you're going to go free agent route, don't you think it's actually better? I would rather sign a 1-year deal for a 35-year-old, even if it doesn't work out. Those deals are always way better than a bigger deal for a 30-year-old, let's say. I mean, look at the Miles Michaelis extension. Not good. Look at the Steven Matz deal. Where the Cardinals have really gotten burned is the mid-tier deals. I've always said this. Go big for superstars. It's hard to get superstars. And a 1-year deal for a 30-something, you can never be too mad about that. A 1-year deal, it's never that big of a deal. Where the Cardinals have really gotten into trouble the last 10 years or so is giving too much money to, as the kids say, mid guys. And I'm talking about the Leaks, Mike Leaks, Dexter Fowlers. I'm not going to throw Johnny Peralta. That's pretty far back, but still Brett Cecil, Mike Leake, Dexter Fowler, the Carpenter extension at the end. I would call Steven Matz a mid guy. You've given him a lot of money. You've given a lot of money to Miles Michaelis at the end. He's certainly a mid guy. That's where the Cardinals really get in a lot of trouble. Kyle Gibson has been a really nice signing. Even Lance Lynn. I mean, what are Lance Lynn's numbers? Is his ERA hovering around 4.5? Isn't that about what you expected from Lance Lynn? Lance Lynn this season has given you 101 in the third innings, 94 strikeouts. So you probably wanted a few more strikeouts. I get that. ERA of 4.17, has made 20 starts. Isn't that about what you expected from Lance Lynn? I mean, I think that's more than fair. He's making $11 million on a 1-year deal. He does have that team option. I mean, still, look, I wouldn't hate it if you brought Lance Lynn back. And I understand you want pitchers better than Lance Lynn, but when you read those reports that the Cardinals aren't going to extend payroll next year, bringing back a Lynn isn't the worst thing in the world on a 1-year deal, picking up the option. Maybe you can go after the offense. You can stack up the bullpen with that money. If you're assuming, so earlier I said you're not bringing back Lance Lynn, but even if you did, Let's say you don't bring back Goldie. So that's about $26 million. You can get a couple good relievers. You would think you can get a nice bat for the outfield or strengthen your bench. What do you guys think? Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. Jeff, if Mo gets Tanner Scott today, I won't be as hard on him. I agree. I think you need a bullpen arm also. Do you think Gibson comes back? I would think so. He likes it here. I would think the Cardinals like him. Makes sense. Don't you want him back, folks? I would want Kyle Gibson back. Let's see. Verlis Ginn. I'm not a Mo fan at all, but that was a good trade yesterday. What would it take to get Fairbanks? Yeah, I was asked that earlier. I don't know, but we looked this up. Fairbanks, stud from St. Louis, 30 years old. Control this year and 25 at about $3.67 million with an option for 2026 at about $7 million. So it's going to take a lot. If you're assuming you get the guy for 2.5 years of control, he's a stud. Typically big strikeout numbers. This year, not as great, but he's really, really good. It'd be great to have him in St. Louis. I would love that move. Great dude. As I said earlier, I covered him playing high school basketball at Webster Groves back in the day. Let's see. What's the contract for Matz? 1 more year. Yeah, we looked that up. Steven Matz's deal was 4 years, $44 million, and it ends next year. Steven Matz with the Cardinals has made 46 starts. 46 starts in basically 2.5 seasons. Not good. The dude's always hurt. You can't count on him. I hate to say it. But just when you say that, next year's contract year, sometimes it just works this way, folks. Steven Matz all of a sudden will be healthy and good next year in his contract year. That also would not surprise me at all. Dudes are super motivated. Dudes are super motivated when they don't have a job for the following season. Let's see. Verlis Ginn, bring back Gibson. I agree. I think you should. I think he'll want to stay. I think the Cardinals will want to keep him. I think it's a good fit. Nodlin. Gibson has been great this year. Maybe my favorite signing of the offseason, aside from Gray. Yeah. And I complained a bit. My complaint, though, was not about specifically Kyle Gibson. It was about the fact that I thought there was redundancy with Gibson and Lance Lynn. I thought you should have went higher tier for one of your starters. We loved Gray, and we loved the Kyle Gibson or Lance Lynn bucket of pitchers. I think a lot of people, me included, thought the Cardinals would go out and trade for a higher-end starter for the front end. So my issue was not really with Kyle Gibson, who has a 3.97 ERA, 102 strikeouts, and 113 and third innings. He's made 20 starts, 4.14 FIP. My issue was always with the fact that when you added Lynn and Gibson, you already had Michaelis, you already had Matz. That was a lot of mid guys. Gray was the only one on paper that was front end of the rotation. I was thinking more about the playoffs. It's hard to march through the playoffs with that type of rotation. Let's be real. DDWI. Watch Montes go to Milwaukee and turn his season around. Yeah, Frankie Montes going to the Brewers. There's a high upside guy. FSR. It annoys me that Palante is just assumed to get shipped to the pen. He's always struggled in relief, but has been an effective starter. Reverse Libertor. Good starter does not equal good reliever. I agree with that. There's no guarantee he goes to the pen and he's effective. Been much more effective as a starter. We talked about that yesterday. Entering the day, his starter ERA was 3.42, I believe, and his pen ERA was like 6.3. And he said he's better as a starter. He feels like he gets better as he faces more hitters and he can get into the groove and all that. Julius L. Fly Jr. John Denton report connects Dylan Carlson to the Nats for Dylan Floro. Okay, hold on. First of all, I am going to go to Twitter here because I don't ever pretend to be an insider, folks. So I'm reading a lot of this stuff off Twitter like you guys are, which is fun. That's why it's important to go live during this time because things change by the minute. Dylan Floro. What do we got here? Dylan Floro, 2.06 ERA, 51 appearances, 52 and a third innings. Not a big strikeout guy, 40 Ks, has some saves in the past. 2.62 FIP. Solid reliever, not a big swing and miss guy. So sure. I mean, that's a nice piece. That's a nice piece. I wouldn't complain about that. Let's see. Jeff, I know it won't be Tanner Scott, but even a John Brebbia would be huge instead of using Roycroft in those spots. 1,000% agree. I thought maybe Brebbia was going to be included in that deal yesterday. Didn't happen. Let's see. Seabolt, will Goldschmidt finish his career here? I don't think so. I don't think he should. I think the Cardinals should move on, but it wouldn't surprise me if they stick with him. But this has been quite the regression. Father Time is undefeated. Just ask Joe Biden, right? I'm not trying to get political. It's true. By the way, this live stream brought to you by Triad Bank. Also, Triad Bank. Great spot, commercial lending and retail banking. St. Louis Equipment, St. Louis Lawn Care, and Corner Butcher in Fenton as well. If you like these live streams, if you like the channel, support our sponsors. Let them know that you heard about them watching the Charlie Marlow YouTube channel, Extravaganza, Podcast X, all that stuff. Okay, I wanted to get into this too. Colby Sports. Loved hearing Joe Buck last night. He's good, man. Wasn't that fun? That was a lot of fun. I didn't get to watch the whole game, but once we got the kids to bed, I watched a good amount. I watched basically the entire second half of the game, and that was just really cool hearing Joe Buck, hearing the stories. I mean, just having fun. Think about it. If you're doing NFL football, Monday Night Football, you got the suit and tie, you're doing it every week, big time games, a lot of pressure, although he probably doesn't feel the exact same pressure now. But to be able to sit in a baseball booth, the slower pace of baseball, sit there without a tie on with Chip, one of his buddies, and just talk baseball, tell all the stories. That was really fun. I think they should do that I don't want to say at least, I think once per year. I think you do it once per year. And it was cool that he came back and did it after the rain out because he didn't really get to do the game last time when it was rained out. I don't think you do it too much. Although, hey, if you want to do 5 games, I mean, per year, nobody's going to complain. But I also think you make it an event. And Joe Buck is busy. He's got kids and all that. So, yeah, if he wants to do a couple games per year, I'm not going to complain at all. That was fun. If I'm him, you probably don't want to do more than like 5. But you should do at least 1 per year. I think Cardinal fans really, really enjoyed that. What do you guys think? What were your thoughts on the Joe Buck, Chip Carey pairing? I thought it was great. You Mama, Gray, Fedde, Gibson seems like a good playoff rotation this year. I would say good. Not elite, not fantastic, but you feel better about it. Considering what was available. Not sure I love it going into next year. Fair. It'd be nice if Tink Hence, maybe that's more like 2026 where he can really throw a big amount of innings in the major leagues. It'd be nice to have more upside. I agree. Tink Hens has big time strikeout potential. They need to add a top end guy in the offseason. I agree. Ain't easy to get those guys. Well, the 280 average is very good now. It's the new 320 for batting average. Yeah, I hear you. I'm not a huge batting average guy, but yes, I agree with you. I like Joe and the stories from Scott. Yeah, it was great. What were your thoughts on the Joe Buck booth last night? I thought it was great. I'm going to go to X, see if anything's happening with the old baseball trade deadline. By the way, I already said earlier, but for folks just joining now, we're about 29 minutes in. I thought this was very interesting. Very interesting when I put the poll out there. Hey, Cardinals fans, do you like the trade? How about that? Best fans in baseball. I'm trying to make sure you can see that. 93% of you liked the trade. You can't make anybody happy these days. And over 1865, that's the year the Civil War ended, right? Almost, we're pushing 2,000 votes. 93% of you guys liked that trade. It's hard to make y'all happy. And it seems like overwhelmingly you guys like that trade. So good job, John Mosaic. Hey, we criticize Mo a lot. Fairly. But that's a dang good trade. Gives you a shot. That's all you're looking for. I don't think that trade by any means guarantees you're going to make the playoffs, but it gives you a dang better shot, right? Let's check the standings Cardinals obviously lose last night to the Rangers. So Cardinals 7 games back in the division. Not impossible. I'm not banking on that at all. By the way, Pirates now are tied with the Cardinals. So there's another team to look for. Pirates got a lot of swag going. Everybody's excited about Paul Skeens. So right now, wild card, Braves in the first wild card, Mets and Padres tied for that second and third wild card. So they're tied there. They have the Diamondbacks half game back. Pirates and Cardinals now 2 games back. Let's just kind of forget about the Giants. Giants, nah. Reds, traded Montas. Cubs, no. So basically the Cardinals, though, they have to jump 3 teams. That's the problem. You have to jump the Pirates, the D-backs, and then one of the Mets or Padres, or in theory, the Braves. I feel like the Braves will make some moves, already are. So Cardinals have to jump Pittsburgh, D-backs, and Padres or Mets. So it's not going to be easy, but they do have a shot. I'm interested to see. I looked at this yesterday. Let's look at the playoff odds. So I looked at it the other day, and the Cardinals had like a 33% chance. And then I looked, I want to say maybe before the trade, before the games yesterday, I think the Cardinals' chance was about 30. So I'm going right now to Fangraphs. So here's Fangraphs, MLB playoff odds. Let's check it out. Cardinals, their win projection is 81.8 wins. So 82 wins. They project the Pirates with 81 wins. So make the playoffs. The Cardinals right now have a 23% chance of making the playoffs, according to Fangraphs. 22.8%. Now, the Pirates only have a 16.4%, but the Padres have a 62.5%. That's who you're battling with. The Mets have a 51.7%. The Braves have a 79.6% chance. And then did I say Diamondbacks? Diamondbacks have a 49.8% chance. So they're basically a coin flip. So the Cardinals by far have the worst odds of all those teams, besides the Pirates, though. 23% chance. You got to start winning. That's the thing. You got to jump 3 teams. 3 teams that are making moves. Pirates, not so much, but the Pirates are kind of young and hungry. But Padres making moves, Mets making moves, Cardinals now making moves. Diamondbacks, you got to jump those teams. You got to jump 3 of them. It ain't going to be easy. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. Here we go. Back to the chat. Drew P. Balls. I remember when Joe Buck started with his dad and Mike. Yep. He told that story yesterday on his 18th birthday, getting to call a game. That was cool. Neilio, I really like the move Mozeliak made yesterday, but to me, if we're down 4 or 5 games in the wild card at the end of the week, it just loses its luster with me. Fedde for 25 makes sense, but don't you have to take a shot? The Cardinals might not be good next year, man. Their minor league system isn't great either. It's not like they're going to be awesome next year. They can be better, but if you have a shot, you got to take it. Next year, they could be 6 games below 500 at the deadline. Who knows? DDWI. Problem with the pitch to contact staff is you'll have a game like last night. Yep, that was a BABIP game. You had the homer, but a lot of dinks and doinks and dunks, and it happens. Yeah, last night in the playoffs, and that can lose you a series. True. That's why swing and miss, strikeout stuff is so important. Agreed. Joseph Pilaster. Nice trade. We need a swing and miss reliever. How about Jordan Hicks? He's got a huge contract. How about that? Did I just read he's headed to the pen? Is that right? So remember, sometimes we draw conclusions too early, folks. Early on, we're saying Jordan Hicks is great. Cardinals made a terrible move of not bringing him back. Everybody needs to kind of just relax. Yeah, so he threw 2 innings yesterday. He threw the 6th and 7th inning. Sorry, not yesterday. That was a couple days ago. On the 28th, he pitched. So he's in the pen. Always a good reminder. Let's not always jump to conclusions. I know I do it too sometimes, but early on we're saying, hey, Jordan Hicks is great. Terrible move. Cardinals not giving him a shot. He was good early. Not so great since. Same with Tyler O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill was setting the world on fire. Then he gets hurt. I haven't even checked his numbers lately. Tyler O'Neill. Where is he at now? Let's see here. Tyler O'Neill. Healthy. That's a good thing. That's always good. So 270 average, 355 on base, 554 slug, 144 OPS plus, 908 OPS, 22 bombs, 44 RBI. He's played 77 games. Yeah, you'll take that. You'll take that. I know he was hurt. We know Tyler O'Neill is always banged up here or there. So I'm trying to look at his okay, so second half, it's only 9 games, but he's back to being really good. Let's look at him by the month. April, March, Tyler O'Neill, 1127 OPS. Amazing. May, terrible. 545 OPS. June and July, 954 OPS June, 995 OPS July. So let's be real. Tyler O'Neill has been amazing for the Red Sox, except for one really bad month, May. He was great first month of the season, great in June, great in July. Yes, he's going to get banged up here and there, but Tyler O'Neill, think about that too. I mean, think about what the Cardinals need. Right-handed pop, especially early in the season. Tyler O'Neill was going nuts. The Cardinals couldn't even fricking scratch a hit together the first part of the year. I think the issue with Tyler O'Neill, the reason I was mad about the trade, other people were mad about the trade, was because it seemed like it had to happen because of what happened last year with Ollie and all that. And I don't think you got a very big return for a guy who finished whatever he finished, 8th in the MVP, and you knew he'd be super motivated in a contract year. And he's been pretty dang good. So, yes, back to the pen for Jordan Hicks. Yep, just looked that up. Colby Sports, you have some funny tweets, Charlie. Thank you, Colby. Scott, Tink Hence, Libator for Crochet. Crochet also has had one great year, big strikeout numbers. Tink Hence, what if he could become a Crochet? I don't know. That ain't happening, folks. That ain't happening. Let's be honest. Neilio, is there a potential move within the pitching staff you see happening in the next day or so? Maybe a starter getting moved into another role. Just curious. Well, you have to. Eventually, it's probably going to be Palante. It's not fair. Life isn't fair. Palante probably going to the pen where he's not as effective as he is as a starter. But contracts usually play. Somebody like Lance Lynn. He's an ordinary guy. I mean, he wouldn't love going to the pen. I think he would do it. It's not like he's going to quit, but I'm guessing Palante to the pen, even though it's not fair. Chase, after drafting JJ, how do you think the team will handle the number of second basemen we have? Obviously, need to see what he can do first, but hypothetically, he's ready by mid next year or spring training 2026. I think assuming this dude will be ready mid-season next year, that's a big ask. I'm not saying it can't happen, but that's a big ask. I would say more like 2026, he makes his appearance. I mean, we'll see. He's a little banged up, right? I don't know that much about him. I watched the Zoom call. I looked up his numbers. I'm not going to pretend to be a college baseball expert, but it seems like they got a guy that a lot of people thought could be the number 1 overall pick. You get him at, what they pick, 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever it was. So seems like really good value. Second baseman, though, what? You moved Edman. You got somebody like Brendan Donovan who can play everywhere. Nolan Gorman. Who knows what's going to happen with Nolan Gorman? I mean, and also, like, you got to draft best available, especially in baseball. These guys can move around if they're athletes. If you can play second, he's played a little short. Obviously, Mason Wynn's there to stay. If you can play second, you can probably play some third. Who knows? I haven't looked him up. I don't know if he can play corner outfield. I know he's about what? He's about 5'10", 190. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about J.J. Weatherholt, to be honest with you. Put Palante back at AAA to remain a starter. Please don't give him the Libator treatment. Yeah, and also Libator. Let's just keep him in the pen. Can we all agree on that? Hey, 69 of you watching right now. Okay, I've gone 39 minutes. I got to be done here because I'm doing a couple of videos with Kenny Wallace here in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna jump off the stream here. I just want to go through Twitter, see if there's any news, anything going on with the trade deadline. Thank you guys for watching, by the way. Comment, like, subscribe. Let's get up to 8,000 subscribers. It's free. Come on. And support our sponsors, Triad Bank, St. Louis Lawn Care, St. Louis Equipment, Corner Butcher and Fenton, CB's Chop House. I'm just going through to see if there's any deals Any deadline activity, although you guys would tell me on the chat also. Let's see. Somebody's saying the Tigers are 100% not trading Tarek Skubal today. Bookmark it. Okay, but that's just from a guy I follow that covers motorsports. I think that was his hope. We'll see. Tarek Skubal, super talented. Jack Flaherty, where will he go? You got to think he's moved. So I'm just looking through X. Don't see a lot going on. All right, we're over 40 minutes. Thanks, guys. All of you. I'm going to read the last couple here. I don't want to leave anybody out. Joseph Plaster. Heyman says Nationals, Guardians, and Giants like Carlson. Yeah, move them. It's time to move on. Let's see. We already read that one from Mike Gray. Palante back at AAA to remain a starter. Yes, no guarantee he's going to be a good reliever. He has not been a good reliever this year. Neilio, I think this format is a great success, Charlie. Have a good one from Neil in the KC area. Thanks. I like live. You know what's one of the best things about live? When it's over, I don't have to edit the video. It's just there. Boom. And hopefully the audio was good. I apologize. The audio was cutting out yesterday. If that ever happens again, let me know, folks. Joseph Pilaster. Thanks, bud. Thank you. Thank you all for watching. Brought to you by Triad Bank, St. Louis Equipment, St. Louis Lawn Care, Corner Butcher and Fenton, CB's Chop House. I'll probably do another one this week for sure. All right. See you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Charlie. Good stuff. Jeff. Thanks, Charlie. Have a drink. I will maybe later. Maybe a beer later. Is that a bourbon? All right. See you guys.